I'm so glad to have you here with me because I asked a question a few days ago on Facebook. It was a little pop quiz, and I was asking everybody, what place in your home is like the most important for creating positive energy? So when people were answering this question a few days ago, I got a lot of the bedroom. Some people said the bathroom, kitchen. What room? Or let me take that back. What space is the most important for creating positive energy? This wasn't a trick question. I think, now here's the thing. Positive energy can really be built up in any room that you want it to, but there's one very, very specific place that positive energy is always coming into your house from. And it is like the source. It's like the breath that comes into the house, and it's the front door. Was that a trick? Did it feel like a trick? I tried not to say room. It's your front door. Okay? Think about it like this. It's the chi or energy or whatever you want to call it is coming in through your front door. It creates the breath. It brings something from the outside in. It's always letting in, and especially if you have a front door that faces, into the open, when the sunlight hits it, right? That source energy coming right in through there. Also, your energy, right? Every time you come and go, you're bringing in energy from the outside as well. So it's really important that you pay attention to your front door, what's going on there, and also create a way to catch negative energy right at the front door. And catching any unwanted energies, almost like an invisible net, casting a net to catch them before they come into the home, because a lot of times they do, right? It comes flowing into the home, and then the next thing you know, it's in your room, it's in your bathroom, it's in your bedroom. Now here's what makes me laugh. Okay, so according to Feng Shui, one of the more negative places in the house is the bathroom. And you got to think about it in terms of energy, right? So the body's natural way of getting rid of toxic energy is through elimination. So when we do our business in the bathroom, we are releasing all the toxic energy that's being held in our body that comes in through all the different sources, from our food, from whatever it's detoxifying from our body, from negative emotions that have been processed and worked through. All of that's coming out of us and going into the bathroom. So the bathroom in Feng Shui terms is really considered a room that doesn't hold a lot of positive energy. Now, if you have a positive association with your bathroom, I think that's great. You must have done something right. For those of you who can feel positive energy in your bathroom, you're doing something right. You're definitely balancing the chi, if you will, in that space. Now, there's two things that we always want to address. I see 44, hey team. That we always want to address when we are trying to shift the energy in our home. And now remember, your home is the external house of you. It's the external reflection of your inner house, right? Your inner house being your inner life, your inner energy centers. This gets reflected out to us. And the home can be such a gift, especially if we're not paying attention, right? We're trying to do all the inner work, and then the house gets messy, or or you're not paying attention to the outer world as much. When you try to create balance between the two, your house can show you where things are hiding. For example, total honesty time. I feel safe to be vulnerable with you. I watch Brene Brown on Netflix, so I'm feeling ready to be vulnerable. So my house is very tidy. When you come into my home, it's tidy. I like my shelves. Oh God, I just looked at one that's not so tidy. But mostly everything's in its place, right? So the external view is pretty palatable. I feel like I'd be okay with anybody walking into my home and I wouldn't feel too embarrassed. But if you open, my dresser specifically does not have drawers. I took a wardrobe and I converted it into a dresser. So I just have shelves that I put things on. Well, every once in a while I go through and I organize that thing, but you wouldn't believe how fast things just get flung in there. And I know that if Marie Kondo saw my wardrobe, I would be spending like 3 hours folding things into box shapes so that I could have a presentable wardrobe. But here's what I'm trying to get at. is that on the surface, right, I can tell you that everything feels organized. It's what's underneath. So what's hidden away in drawers, what's hidden under your bed, what is hidden in your wardrobe, what is hidden in your closet, these represent the subconscious, right? And here's the beauty. This is one of the things that I love about how energy works, is you can address it from the outside in or the inside out, and both will balance each other. So for example, if I am doing a lot of deep subconscious level work on myself, which makes me hyper aware of the state of internal places like drawers, closets, under beds, shelves. And I've been like going around and just without even thinking about it, just reshuffling, reorganizing, like going through and really letting things go. And that's a great way for the subconscious rather, to reflect that it's organizing itself. But you can also do it from outside in. So as you address the places in your life that, in your home rather, that feel messy or unkempt, whether it be the exterior places or the interior places, it actually has a positive effect on you internally. And when you do it with that conscious awareness, right? So here's the beauty. Let's say that you do want to do some subconscious level work on yourself and you're just like, I don't even know where I would begin, right? Where do I begin? All you have to do is pick something like a closet or under the bed or wherever is an internal hidden area, and consciously say, this is all you have to do, honestly. Consciously say that as I clean and organize this space, I am cleaning and organizing my subconscious mind. Now, all you're going to hear is that thought, and you're going to work on that space, and you're going to invoke that thought time and again. You don't have to hold it rigidly, but really just work that thought every once in a while, and you're just going to start feeling better. You might not get anything, or you might get things like spontaneous memories or stuff that wants to come up to be healed. Something you haven't thought about in years is all of a sudden going to like pop up and come forward and want to be addressed. That's a good thing. The body is another external reflection of the internal world. So when you work on the body works on the mind, or when you work on the mind, it works on the body. One of these areas is like flexibility, for example. So the stiffer the body, the more rigidly held the thought structures in the mind. And the more you can open the flexibility of the mind, the body becomes more flexible. And it's true. So you can do the same thing there. So that's just a really cool way to approach it. And I find that when we feel stuck, right, when we know that there is an issue going on, let's say something's not moving in our world, like you might be putting a lot of effort out, just a lot of effort in one direction, and you have been clocking the hours in, you've been praying, you've been meditating, you've been taking action, you've been aligning your thoughts, you've been looking at everything, journaling, everything you can think of, and nothing seems to move. One of the best things to do is to step back, right? Step away, step away for a moment, give yourself a complete break and focus on something outside of yourself. Just redirecting the energy, because sometimes we get that feeling of really being lost in the woods of ourselves. Like it's so prevalent what's going on in ourselves around us that we actually stop being able to see it because we live it, right? We're breathing it. So when we can take something like Feng Shui or our home and focus on the external, we can really start to open up that internal, right? And so you can start doing small things to take it back. The best thing, especially if you're feeling a lot of negative energy in the home. Now, I was contacted by somebody who was feeling an intense amount of negative energy, and to the point where they were convinced that they have negative entities attached. Now, is it possible to have negative entities attached? Yes, it is, but we have to look at the environment first. Was the environment a place that allowed that to happen? Meaning, was the environment in a state where it was almost conducive to negative energies. Right? And so when I asked her to look at that, the first thing that came back was just how busy everyone is, how hectic their life is. I didn't ask the state of the home, like cleanliness wise, because that sometimes feels like it's a rude statement. But there was a lot of electronics uses, like a lot of electronic gadgets. And now that creates a type of negative energy atmosphere. And the reason why is all electronics emit positive ions. Why they're called positive, I don't know, but it's just, they're a positive charge. Too much of that creates a negative environment, right? So you've got to remember, too many positive ions creates a negative charge in the environment. What happens to us is we get into these states where the environment is highly charged with an electrical current and it's too much. It's out of balance. And this causes us to feel anxious, frustrated, upset, even angry, depressed, causes a lot of negative emotions. When you're feeling that, how in your home, day after day, how likely are you to be taking care of the home, right? So things go like you do cleaning, but you do it half-heartedly. So a little dust builds up and the next thing you know, there's dust bunnies in the corner and crumbs hidden under, the sideboards in the kitchen, things like that, right? So the energy builds up like that. And that's when it is a fertile environment for something to attach. So one of the best things you can do, period, is a spring cleaning of your home, is to really focus specifically on getting rid of dust, right? The dusty buildup. Why? Because it's a lower frequency energy. Or dust is a combination of all sorts of dirt in our home, including just sloughed off dead skin cells. That's a dead, dense, low vibrational energy. And these things tend to build up and really charge and collect in the corners of the home. So when the next time you go to clean, really concentrate on wiping down the corners of the home, really vacuum into that corner. And a little extra tip for you is put a little pinch of sea salt in the corners of the room. You can leave it there for like 24 hours. And that sea salt is highly detoxifying, not only for the body, but also for the environment. And when you have large amounts of it, it actually detoxifies the air. That's why those salt lamps are so good and so beneficial. They're air purifying, but they also release negative ions, which counter and kind of eat the positive ions, which create a more peaceful, serene, pleasant, uplifted, happy environment in your home. So yes to salt lamps, but even more so to just chunks of salt, right? Like get some, you can get some chunks of like Himalayan sea salt, the rock form, and even stick those in the corners of the room. If you do solid rock, you can leave it there for probably about a week, and then you want to discard it outside, right? Get it out of the house. Vacuum the crystals up if you're using that kind in 24 hours. And discard it out. About the front door, do you suggest leaving shoes at the door? What do you think is the best way to keep the good energy? Oh, that is such a good point. So shoes, obviously, like if you look at like the Japanese culture, they absolutely do not allow, shoes in the home. Why? Because of the low vibrational energy of the dirt and that being tracked through the home and that attracting negative energy. So if you can store them away from the front door, that would be better. Now I know that sometimes that's difficult, right? If you're living like in an apartment, you might not feel cool about leaving your shoes outside your home. If you don't have a mud room, like that's what mud rooms are for, right? So you might have to get creative with that, but definitely maybe have if you have like an old shopping bag, the ones that you would buy for like 99 cents at the grocery store that are the reusable shopping bags. Those only last for so long before they start to wear out. But that would be a great way to kind of keep your shoes in them and then put them somewhere in the home where, maybe in the kitchen or something like that next to the garbage can. I know that's tricky. We're actually having that same issue as I'm like really reassessing the front door as I'm teaching this lesson, making sure that I'm in alignment with what I'm teaching. We have like a little space for shoes, but it's right next to the door. And it really does attract a lot of dirt and negative energy. So if you can figure out where to put shoes, making a space for them that would contain the dirt, and definitely try not to walk the shoes through the house. So here's some other things. Salt, a little bowl, a little dish of salt, okay? Sea salt again, by the front door to help dissipate any negative chi. One of the things that you can do after you've cleaned the area is have a little dish of sea salt by the door. You can have it either on the outside or on the inside, depending on where it seems to fit. You know, with the inside, the salt won't get wet. On the outside, the salt might get a little wet. But that dish of salt, what it does is it acts as part of the net that you're creating to draw the negative energy that comes through the door, yours or anybody else's, right? This little dish of salt just kind of will help suck some of that, any negative energy coming through the door out. And it also, what it does is it can stabilize fast moving energy. One of the Feng Shui principles that you want is you want the energy to meander. In fact, the image I'd like to leave you with is the idea of a lazy, winding river. That is the most beneficial energy to move through your home. That's why they're always telling you to use plants and put them in weird places. So you want to get rid of corners. Sharp corners are considered poisonous in terms of energy, because what it does is it creates the energy to speed up. So you want to create more of like a winding river energy. While putting salt at the door already will slow the energy down just a little bit. So in case you do have wide open spaces or sharp corners right there in the home, the salt will take a little bit of the edge off and slow that energy down. You really want to address the energy coming through your front door and creating that place where it's, it literally does stop. Try addressing your front door. See what's there. See if there's anything that can shift for you there. And remember, sea salt is your best friend and pretty much the answer to cure anything, right? Okay. Mwah. Love you all.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so that you know the next time I release a new video. Until then, stay magical.